Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night. Time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network, Western New York's home for motorsports. Marty Sacalo with you live inside the Slide Job Studios. Kelvin LaPierre in the DC, I should say, in our nation's capital. I keep forgetting he's not in the Cowboys Nation man cave right now. He's currently at work. But Kelvin, we had at North Wilkesboro, we had a wild Sunday night. But at High Limit on Thursday and Friday, we had some clean action and some great racing. You're on mute, my friend.
I mean, yeah, we had short track racing at its finest.
Yep,
in
we
Wilkesboro.
got you.
And then we had clean dirt track style racing with High Limit out there in New York. I don't know what more you can ask for. I was glad the weather stayed great for High Limit out there. I'm glad to see the turnout. I saw all your videos with, I believe it was Outlaw, where they were lined up out the door all the way to the barn, which is actually quite a ways away from the entrance. They were lined up super early. I was glad to see that, and they put on one heck of a show, and I think we're going to talk about it here shortly.
We're going to talk about High Limit. That'll be the first thing we talk about before we get to the All-Star race. But first off, RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group. They carry 20 different auto manufacturers, ranging from Chevy to Ford to Toyota, and many more in 26 locations throughout the state. Choose from thousands of vehicles in stock and check them out online at bobjohnsonautogroup.com to find a location near you. Well, we begin by recapping High Limit at Outlaw Speedway Thursday and Utica Rome Friday, the first time in 2024. Here is your RSN Trackside recap. Kubota High Limit finally made their first trip to New York last Thursday night. Action began at the Outlaw Speedway in front of a packed house and a packed pit with 38 sprinters. Zeb Wise and James McFadden brought the field to green for the feature. Wise would pull out to the early lead. In lap traffic on lap 9, Sweet would get it run barely and take away the second spot from J-Mac. Then at the halfway point, Sweet would throw a slide job on Wise to go up front with 15 to go. Wise would try to cross over, but Sweet would be able to clear. In the final laps, the previous 410 winner at Outlaw, Tyler Courtney, would try to get a run, but in the end, Brad Sweet scored his first New York win in 410 competition in his first attempt at Outlaw Speedway.
Yeah, I had fun tonight. I thought the track was really racy, wide and slick, smooth, kind of what you'd expect out of a New York track. So just happy we got our car good tonight. I think we haven't been as good at these New York tracks in the past, so happy tonight that we were good. Yeah, just was kind of making speed up high, and I don't think Zeb had found that grip off turn 4. So I was trying not to show it to him too early, and then finally got my run right and was able to get by him, and then was able to really kind of get going there, I felt like, and set a good pace.
Moving on to Utica Rome Friday, this time 40 cars checked in. The first time in recent memory we've seen at least 40. Justin Marks and Justin Peck brought the field to green. Immediately, Justin Marks would pull away, while Rico Abreu would move up to second. Lap 7, Abreu looks low underneath Marks and takes the lead. At the same time, he used Davey Franek as a pick and forced Marks to race Justin Peck for P2. Marks would go over the berm in turn 4 a few laps later and forced him out of the podium. But in the end, another caution-free feature in his first week racing a dirt car in New York. Rico Abreu scores his first High Limit win of the year.
Yeah, definitely good. I'm just happy for my team, to be able to work through and process, just shows really the infrastructure that we have here. And these guys, Ricky, Brady, Zach Middlebrooks, they do an amazing job just working really hard, to get our car faster and faster. So I waited for the pace to kind of slow down. I didn't want to show Brent my nose too early and allow him to move down, but I knew I was gaining on him off of 2 and off of 4 and just kept inching away at it. So this is a big win for my team.
Some pretty cool things that I talked about there. First off, 40 cars at a 410 sprint race on Friday night at Utica Rome. We have not seen that high of a number in a 410 race in a long time. I had to do some extra research on this. Joe Grabianowski, who does the photography for the Super Dirt Car series and does their social media, He said, I think it was 1986 at the fairgrounds. A 410 race had about like maybe 55, 56 cars or so. So the C40 there, from the high rollers to the locals to even some of the Pennsylvania posse coming out, that was awesome to see. And Kelvin, you mentioned it earlier before we aired the package. The crowd there was insane. They had to show up for the first ever high limit races. And I think high limit, from what I saw on Thursday and Friday, they hit a home run in New York.
Yeah, and I think that was the whole plan behind Sweet and Larson doing this deal, right? Taking high limit to the new heights. And Brad Sweet getting his first win. I'm pretty sure he's dominated in the sprint car before there at Ransomville, New York. So I don't quite get where that statement came from in his post race. But I'm pretty sure we've seen him dominate out there in the past.
Actually, when I believe the series has been to New York, when the Word of Outlaws were in 2017, I think Sweet was battling for the win, but Tim Schaefer won. Then in 2018, it was David Gravel. Then I think it was 2021 where Aaron Reitzel got the job done at Ransomville. So this was Sweet's first win in New York. He's had a lot of bad luck at some of these New York tracks in the past. He enjoyed Outlaw Speedway. The feature was great. Yes, I know a lot of you were complaining about the dust, but maybe excessive dust. But that was a racy track, a wide track. You could go anywhere. You're at a dirt track, for crying out loud. So I would say deal with it, but you may think otherwise. But I thought both races were successful. What do you see next for them in New York, Kelvin? Obviously, we need to see them go to Fonda. Number one, they were supposed to be going there, but obviously with the track conditions there was not good enough. I think we see them there next year. But I think with the way that went down, I think we see them with over 3 races, maybe 2 weekends or even 3 weekends, similar to what All Stars did when they were in New York. I would like to see them at Weedsport go next.
Yeah, I think Weedsport's the place that they really need to go hit. But with the racing that they put on, I could see them wanting to do an interstate series, much like Super Dirt Cars did during COVID. We had that interstate series of Summerfest. I think that'd be pretty cool watching them do a whole weekend down the interstate in Oswego, Ransomville, and Land of Legends. I think that'd be a pretty cool tracks to see them race at. But I think Fonda is definitely one they got to get to. Maybe Orange County. I'm not sure if they're down there, and I can't remember the schedule or not. But Orange County, I think, will put on another good race down there too.
I talked with Brett Dale about why High Limit wouldn't do 2 shows at Utica Rome. And if you haven't seen it, go on the RSN Trackside Facebook page. Gave a great explanation about that. Would have been a loss of money. So Dale thinking about the business side of things and wanted to make sure at the same time that the other local classes were able to run on Saturday as well. So, but yeah, High Limit was a blast. Want to give a shout out to the High Limit team. They were incredible to work with while I was doing stuff, not just for Trackside, but also for the project I'm doing at St. Bonaventure University on them. So it was great to see. And looking forward to seeing what's next for High Limit. Wishing them all the best for the rest of the season, though, that's for sure. Let's get to the All-Star race. And it's one of those rare occurrences, Kelvin, where the first thing we are not talking about is the winner. We are talking about what boiled over post-race. Safe to say that it was beef that was cooked perfectly. If you know where I'm going there, you know where I'm going. But Joey Logano wins. Everyone's talking about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Busch. Lap number 2 of the race. Stenhouse goes 3 wide. Gives Kyle Busch the lane. Kyle gets the wall. Not too happy about it. Takes out Stenhouse Jr. in turn number 3. Stenhouse says, wait till you see what happens post-race. And because North Wilkesboro Speedway does not have an underground tunnel like all these other tracks do, they have a crossover gate instead, Stenhouse has to wait there for the final 198 laps. So what's he do? He waits at Kyle Busch's hauler, and then, boom! Overhand right hook that looked like you could see it in boxing, and just a huge brawl broke out. We haven't seen a major brawl between drivers and pit crews in the Cup Series in a long time. I can't remember the last time. I want to say like 2017 at Vegas when it was Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, but both sides agreed to disagree, and in the end, this is where NASCAR stood at things here. The penalty report came out this morning. Pulling it up here in my email. We get a lot of emails on Wednesdays, but here were the penalties here. Ricky Stenhouse fined $75,000 for a punch, and per Seth Eggert of kickingthetires.net, that is the highest penalty or the biggest penalty someone has had in a fight in recent memory in NASCAR. A pair of crew members were suspended. Keith Matthews was suspended 4 races through Iowa, and Clint Myrick, both on the 47, suspended 8 races through Pocono in July. That is like an L3 type penalty. Also, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s dad, Richard Stenhouse, indefinitely suspended from NASCAR. He was a part of the fight. Couple things here, Kelvin, I want to ask you. First off, what was your take on the incident?
Kyle Busch got this one wrong. Rarely does he get one wrong, but he got this one wrong watching the replay. Stenhouse, I think, did bump him into turn 1 and turn 2 on lap 1 to kind of make himself available to go 3 wide. But that's not justification for just straight up wrecking a guy going back into turn 1 after taking the first lap and wiping him out of the race. That's uncalled for, especially when you get the call wrong. He never touched you till you bounce off the wall. Ricky was right there. Ricky, visibly right to be upset, did not say.
Uh-oh. I think we may have lost Kelvin. So while we try to get him figured out,
Ricky's dad
nope,
gone.
we got him. We got him.
I said Ricky's dad is gone for a while. He's not going to be back at all this year. But where'd you lose me at? And I could fill you in.
I think we simply got it there on the first one. So that was your take on the incident. I got 2 other questions. Second, what was your take on the fight?
A fight? Yeah. Ricky said it was coming, right? Like he just watch after the race. He couldn't get out of there. And I think if he would have got out of there, the situation doesn't happen. There's a phone call made. Kyle Busch has time to go back, watch the replay, and see he was wrong. And it blows over, but now I think it's going to carry over into Charlotte. And I don't know if you've seen Richard Childress' comments
I did
this week. But I want to see Ricky try and take out the 8 because I want to see Richard Childress try and do what he says he's going to do.
Yeah, for those wondering what RC said about that is, I'm going down to it right now. I saw it on Twitter yesterday. RC said that if he touches that number 8 car, that he would whoop Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s rear end personally, and that he wished to stay Sunday to be a part of that fight. Now, Kyle Busch talked about the fight with some guy named Charlie Marlowe, who's apparently a part of the Kenny Wallace show. I haven't heard a lot of that, any key takeaways. Ricky, though, did say that he believes that this is over with. Obviously, with the tensions high, that he believes that he said that he was going to wreck Kyle the week after in the 600. But now going over that, Stenhouse believes that the tempers have boiled over and that this thing is over with. Probably going to race a lot harder, though, the rest of the season than you would expect. Finally, your takes on the penalties that came out today.
Silly by NASCAR. The only one I think that's deserved is the 47 crew, because they put Kyle Busch in his chokehold to get Ricky Stenhouse's dad out of harm's way. And then when they did get free from Kyle Busch, they tried to go right back at him. So I think those 2 suspensions are warranted. I think the suspension indefinitely for his dad is warranted. Like, your son started the fight. Like, you don't have any reason to be in there. You shouldn't have been there. If anything, you should be holding your son back from doing more harm to his career than making your son having to worry about you. And then the $75,000 thing, NASCAR, you're advertising this on all of your social medias. Like, you are blasting this. They haven't mentioned one thing about Joey Logano outside of the checkered flag once this fight happened, that's all you've seen on NASCAR social media is this fight and memes of this fight and who's right, who's wrong. Kyle versus Stenhouse, like that's all we're seeing right now. We don't know, like if I'm an average Joe Schmo who didn't watch the race on Sunday night, I wouldn't know Joey Logano won. I'd be like, I want to know why this fight happened, and that's all I'm looking up. So the $75,000 way too high. Knock it down to 25 like it should be, and call it a day. But Dale Jr. is absolutely right. The reason this fine is so high, every big dollar sponsor was looking at this race. Every big dollar sponsor was at this race. All the big dollar TV money was at this race with a new TV deal coming. It was all on the line, and they see this. They might not want to get into it, so they have to put their foot down on it. But at the same time, NASCAR, shame on you for taking full advantage and basically making money on this fight because you're posting it everywhere.
I look at this three ways, and that's why I asked those three questions. Number one, on the instant, in the car, I can understand why Kyle Busch was upset. But now, once you took out Ricky on purpose, Stenhouse has an absolute right to be mad. Like, I get it. I understand the frustration. Plus the fact that you can't go over and you can't go home to watch the rest of this race. I completely understand his frustration, and I understand why he stayed at Kyle Busch's hauler, waited for him to get there once he got out of his race car. My take on the fight, I love that the two were talking about it, and I gotta admit that I didn't expect a punch coming from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I expected either a slap on the face like The Rock did to Cody Rhodes, or I expected a little bit of a shove at the chest. But a punch? Dang. The one thing I couldn't stand about that fight, number one, the crews getting involved in it. Let the drivers handle it. The two crews they don't deal with the actions on the track. They just work on the race cars. Like, breaking up a fight is one thing, but to fight other crew members, like one getting on the 8's truck and the 8 truck telling the 47 crew guys to get off the truck, I can't stand that. Let the drivers handle it themselves and get the parents out of it. Like, I understand Ricky Stenhouse Sr. is trying to protect his son. I get that. However, though, don't be trying to punch Kyle Busch in any of this. Tony Kanaan once said this in a 2007 IndyCar race at Watkins Glen to ESPN when he got in a fight with Sam Hornish Jr. and his father. Dads belong in the grandstands. They don't belong in the pits at these big races. That's my opinion. That's my take on it. If they don't have anything to do with the team, they don't belong in the pits. Just my opinion on things. And then my take on the penalty on the crew guys and Ricky Stenhouse Sr., that's warranted. I like that. But like you said, Kelvin, I do not like the $75,000 fine on Stenhouse one bit. That is way too high when you're promoting this sport to fans, trying to get new fans. How many views did that get on social media? Like nearly 10 million combined on NASCAR's platforms as well as other media members' platforms. I think it was Jordan Bianchi that had about 5 million views in like a few hours or so. And then this was played all over Sports Center. Pat McAfee show was talking about it. I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. may have been on Pat McAfee. I don't know. I haven't watched it this week. But, like, NASCAR is going to be promoting the heck out of this. And you're going to give Stenhouse a $75,000 fine. Media is doing the right thing here. Competition-wise, I think it should have been downwards to, like, maybe a $25,000 fine. That's my opinion on it. I'm not sure what else you do here. No points penalty, no suspension for Stenhouse Jr. Nope, just a fine. But $75,000, way too high in my opinion. You have something?
Can we just talk about the memes that have come out of this?
We'll get to those in just a moment. We'll get to those. Let's save those for just a bit. Because I got one I want to talk about in the good, bad, ugly. That's my favorite. Let's save those for just a bit. You and I had fun with those, but let's talk about the winner, though. Let's not count him out. Joey Logano dominated this race. Led 199 out of 200 laps. Had an incredible performance. It seems to me, Kelvin, when we have these new type of track/rule combinations, Logano is like the quickest to adapt to it first. Logano wins on the fresh pavement and the newer tire package we had with the red tire, yellow tire, whatever you want to call it. what else was Logano the first to do? He was the first to win on the dirt track with the Gen 6 at Bristol. He was also the first driver to win in a next-gen car, of course, the Clash at the LA Coliseum. I feel like Joey Logano's the quickest to adapt to these things. Some people were saying on SiriusXM that you cannot count out Joey Logano. They were right. I think Logano was someone that you and I both overlooked this weekend.
Yeah, I think we overlooked him for good reason. Outside of the RFK Fords, what Fords have been dominant or up front all year? Logano hasn't. Blaney has run well, but he's not been a top 5 contender week in and week out. It's been Chevy and Toyota all year before Brad Keselowski won a race. Like, it was those two. It was Chevy and Toyota winning races. There was 0 Fords. So I don't think we overlooked Joey Logano. I think we just completely overlooked Ford, and with good reason for it. But yeah, you're right. Joey Logano does adapt. I picked Joey Logano to win the first dirt race. He goes out and wins the first dirt race. Picked him to win at the Coliseum. I said he adapts well to these style of track, and it seems to be the short track that he adapts well at. You go to 1.5 miles with these new cars, not so much. But the short tracks, Ford has got their short track package dialed in, and I think we're going to see Ford start raffling off some wins now that Keselowski's won. I know this is non-points race, but now Logano has won. I think Ford is primed to have a really good summer, and I think Chevy and Toyota might have a little bit of a downslide. But when we get to the fall is when Ford tends to slip a little bit, and we only see 1 or 2 run really well, and the rest kind of fall to the back, and Toyota and Chevy come back. But Hendrick cars, to me, this weekend looked a little lackluster. Kyle Larson, by far the best car. I know Byron got in an accident. Bowman didn't make the show, and then Elliott was like up there, but not up there at the same time with how dominant Joey Logano was. And that just goes to show you how good of a car Joey Logano had. He only led every lap but one. And I think the one he didn't lead is because he was on pit road.
I believe so. So, what'd you think of the tires?
I'm kind of like Al Jr.'s opinion on it. If you're going to give us a toy, don't let us play with it your way. Let us play with it our way. I don't think they should have mandated what tire they start on. I think they should have been able to start on whatever tire they wanted. I'd be interested to see what the left sides look like, because every driver you talk to says if there's no left side fall off and all we're changing is right sides, our pit stops are quicker. We don't have to worry about the lefts because they're not fading at all. They're not hurting lap time. I wanted to know what these left side softs look like and what these left side normals look like, because this track had character, and I'm sure we're going to get into that too, because everybody thought we were going to a one groove racetrack, and we did not have that.
I thought with this tire combo, like on the short runs, I thought NASCAR hit a home run with it. Like, you look at the racing that we had back at the Open, in the Open, I think, what was it, Saturday it was? Yeah. Either Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember, but I think it was Sunday, but it was fantastic. I thought, drivers were going high, drivers were going low in turn 1. We had constant 2 wide or 3 wide action for about maybe 3 laps or so. I thought it was really good. I give it up to Goodyear for trying this out. This was pretty much like you said last week, Kelvin. This was pretty much a tire test. I think it could work for NASCAR down the road. Do I think they do 2 tires in every regular season race? No, I think they try out that red tire for, maybe a race this season, like maybe try it at a Martinsville or maybe a New Hampshire. But I thought it turned out pretty good from my perspective. So,
I'd like to see it tested on a road course. I think this would be a really good, interesting road course package.
I think maybe combine it at Sonoma, because they just had a repave done too. So I think Sonoma would be interesting, although they actually just had a tire test about a month or 2 ago. So let me ask you this as well. I'll give you my opinion on this first. What do you think is next for the All-Star race? Obviously, they announced earlier this week that NASCAR is returning to North Wilkesboro in 2025. The thing is, you don't know just yet on what the segment's going to be like, what the tires are going to be like. I like the 200-lap All-Star race. I think it fits perfectly with a typical short track night race or so. But in my opinion, I just feel like with the way this in-season tournament, with how it sounds like if it's going to go, it sounds really promising. And if it guarantees us with what we're going to see in those 5 weeks starting out in 2025, this is going to be a hot take for me. But if the in-season tournament's successful, because you're paying out $1 million on that, get rid of the All-Star race. I feel like next year could be the final year of the All-Star race. No offense to North Wilkesboro, I love it. No offense to the All-Star race. I love giving out $1 million to the winner. But I feel like you're giving out $1 million in the in-season tournament. I feel like that should be it. That should be it for giving out $1 million for a special occasion. Other than that, I don't want to see it twice.
Yeah, you're right. And I think this was brought up several times on the broadcast. I don't know how closely you paid attention to Harvick and Boyer talk about this a million times. If there was more cars on North Wilkesboro's track, that race is a completely different race.
Yes.
It is completely different. Joey Logano's not leading every lap. It's harder to pass when you have more cars out there. I think next year's All-Star race is the final All-Star race we're going to see. That in-season tournament 5 races is going to start at North Wilkesboro. And it's going to be a points-paying race in 2025 and 2026. And it is going to be all 34 cars on the track. I don't think that you're going to have an All-Star race anymore. I think it's going to be, we're going to have a bye week, and then we're back in North Wilkesboro, and we're running a points race with every car on the track. The entire race. We're going to do a 400-lap race in North Wilkesboro. It's going to get crazy. It's going to be fun, and it's going to kick off $1 million 5 weeks.
So the result, your top 10 for the All-Star race: Joey Logano, the winner; Denny Hamlin, 2nd; Chris Buescher, 3rd; Kyle Larson, 4th; Ryan Blaney, 5th; Bubba Wallace, 6th; Ross Chastain, 7th; Chase Elliott, 8th; Michael McDowell, 9th; Kyle Busch, 10th. Race lasted an hour and 19 minutes and 57 seconds. Average speed 93 miles an hour. Margin of victory was 0.6 of a second. 4 yellows for 27 laps. 2 lead changes among 2 different drivers. So, but other racing here, just want to touch on this real quick here, just for a couple seconds. Corey Heim taking the win in the Truck Series race at North Wilkesboro, which looked to be a really good race down there from Saturday afternoon to Sunday afternoon as well. So, coming up next, we're going to talk our good, bad, and ugly. No power rankings this week because it was a non-points race, but we're going to talk about our good, bad, and ugly, including our favorite memes as well. Kelvin, we'll get to that. We also going to talk about Kyle Larson's double update. He had a heck of a qualifying run down in Indianapolis for the 500 that a lot of people, I think, were very impressed of, and some other news, including NASCAR Hall of Famers. So stay with us. RSN Trackside is around the corner.
The drive, dedication, the courage it takes to go from contender to champion. This is Driven Bob Johnson from the very start. It's how we build our team. It's how we win our customers. Bob Johnson welcomes every challenge to enter the winner's circle.
Bob Johnson's got your back. Bob Johnson.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef, follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce, and finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say,
Gimme, 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 feel great.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food. We did that too. A separate place to smoke and play? We even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, We look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
The Red Wings are home this week. Tuesday has half-price tickets. Wednesday features a jersey giveaway to fans 21 and older. Thursday is a business person special at 11:05 a.m. For tickets, visit redwingsbaseball.com.
Welcome back to RSN Trackside. RSN Trackside is brought to you by Bill Gray's, home of the world's greatest cheeseburgers since 1938. Every Wednesday, $2 off kids' meals featuring burgers, Weigel's Hots, and more. Also at select locations, you can watch the race and grab some food and a drink at a Bill Gray's tap room. Find a location near you at BillGrace.com. Gimme, gimme, gimme Bill Gray's. All right, it is time now for our good, bad, and ugly of the weekend. Kelvin, I'll let you go first. What's your good, bad, ugly?
The good, I'm going to give it to North Wilkesboro fan base for selling that place out 2 years in a row, and for the North Wilkesboro on a great repave. They took the character, they left the character there. Everybody thought it was going to be a one-groove racetrack. It was actually quite entertaining from the open all the way through. The truck race was good. So I'm going to give North Wilkesboro some credit there and their fan base. The bad, I'm going to go, I can't remember who did it, but the belly flop that they did in the infield with 2 feet of water in pit road, they didn't get enough height to get an accurate belly flop. So it's kind of just like falling into the water. That was pretty bad. And then I got to go to Stuart Haas Racing, I believe, was the team that had nobody in the pits at all. And Hendrick Motorsports had to tape up their cars so they didn't get all that rain in there. And NASCAR allowed them to do it under the supervision of NASCAR officials. So Stuart Haas having 0 people at the track when there was 4 inches of rain dropping and not having their cars covered, knowing they weren't going to be at the track, knowing that there was a potential for severe weather to be in the area. That's got to be as ugly as it gets. Having to have a Chevy team wrap up a Ford team's equipment had to be pretty embarrassing on Ford's part.
All right, let's see here. My good of the weekend, I'm going to go to Joey Logano for just dominating that race, completely leading 199 of 200 laps. The bad to Kyle Busch for thinking that it was Stenhouse's fault, but it was his own fault, and instead took one on the chin because of it. And then the ugly, this is where we kind of transition to our next part, talking about the memes. The ugly, my favorite part of all of this was Bob Pockrass's face after this. Look at this profile pic that Bob's got. That was from his video that he took of the fight, and seeing it, I think, what was it, Todd Furman, who is a gambling analyst, he said Bob's getting ready for his next career in boxing or something like that. So that was one of the better memes to come out, as well as Stenhouse waiting at Bush's trailer. That turned out really good. What was your favorite meme out of all of that? Hang on,
this one right here.
That's the one. Yep, that's mine. Did you have another one?
The one with Nickelback holding up his photograph.
Oh, that turned out pretty good. I'm going throughout the chat that him and I are in, along with Steve. There were a couple of good memes that came out of this. I posted some with WWE stuff. I did Kyle Busch as The Rock and Ricky Stenhouse as The Undertaker back at WrestleMania 40. So, but some really good memes that came out of that fight. It was pretty funny. But no power rankings, of course, because it was the All-Star race. We don't do power rankings from the All-Star race. So let's get to some news here. And, of course, we begin with the Hall of Fame nominations that were announced earlier this week for the class of 2025. We'll go in order of how they announced them. The first one was the Landmark Award to someone that's made an incredible contribution into NASCAR. And it was Dr. Dean Sicking that was named the Landmark Award recipient. He was the one that created the safer barrier, the softer wall in the sport that's been used for over 20 years. And it's just incredible to see that safer barrier save a lot of lives in the sport and prevent a lot of injuries as well. But the Pioneer ballot went to Ralph Moody, who was a part of the Holman Moody team in 1957. Powerhouse NASCAR team, winning championships with David Pearson and the Daytona 500 with Mario Andretti. 96 wins from the Holman Moody team and 83 poles in 525 starts. As for the two nominees on the modern ballot, Ricky Rudd, the Rooster, the Iron Man, with 788 consecutive starts, total of 906, 23 wins in a 32-year career, 194 top fives, 374 top tens, which is 7th all-time in NASCAR history, 6 races in his own driver-owner team. He scored at least 1 win in 16 consecutive seasons and is one of 75 greatest drivers. He received 87% of the modern era ballot. The second driver who received 52% of the ballot, Carl Edwards. How about it? Probably one of the best drivers to never win a championship. A lot of victories for him. The 2007 Xfinity Series champion, earning full-time rides in 2005 in Cup and Xfinity Series action. 5 straight years he was in the top 2 in Xfinity points, including the 2007 title. 38 Xfinity wins over 7 full seasons. Over 13 Cup Series seasons. He won 28 races, including the Coke 600 and Southern 500 in 2015, and was the championship runner-up twice, losing it by tiebreaker in 2011, and also NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers. Thoughts, Kelvin?
I think the class is great. I think NASCAR got this one right again. I think there's only been a couple of them that I haven't agreed with at the time they've gone in. But this class, I completely agree with. There wasn't a miss on this list. Ricky Rudd deserved to be in. I know you were all ecstatic when Carl Edwards got in. I'm sure your mom is thrilled as well.
She is thrilled about it.
That Carl Edwards finally got in. Kind of a bummer with how he ended his career, but I understand it 100%. He had bigger and other things he wanted to do, but I still don't think we're done seeing Carl Edwards inside a car. I think we might see him on a part-time basis here in the future, but really happy for Carl, really happy for this entire class. I don't think I could say much more about it because I think you hit every nail on the head that needed to be hit. From Ricky Rudd, was Ricky Rudd and Kurt Busch at Darlington? Silver, maybe?
I'm trying to remember.
Where they had a closest finish for a while. And then
Nah, you're thinking of Ricky Craven. You're thinking of Craven.
I remember the Tide Cut.
So,
but Ricky Rudd still had a heck of a career.
Yeah. I would have had, if I were voting for that, I would have definitely had Ricky Rudd and Ralph Moody. I probably would have done Carl for one more year. This year, I probably would have put Harry Gant on the ballot because, he was known for winning in his 50s and, of course, Mr. October back in the 90s. But hey, Carl Edwards well deserving of making the Hall of Fame, and again that will take place. The induction ceremony will take place in, I believe it is February, the week before the Daytona 500 at the Charlotte Convention Center. We'll confirm that right now. And yes, that will be on February 7th at the Hall of Fame Convention Center. Tickets available later this month on NASCARHall.com. Some other news. Let's talk about Kyle Larson and his double update. He's been having a heck of a month of May, that's for sure. A busy month of May. Again, I had a lot of people asking me, where's Kyle Larson? Is he going to be here? I'm like, guys, he is in Indianapolis getting ready for the 500. And, yeah, I don't blame him for being in Indy. He qualified on row number 2 for the Indy 500, starting 5th on Sunday. On Sunday for the Fast 12 and the Fast 6, he put it on provisional poll. And I think when he put it on provisional poll, a lot of people freaked out, including me. I was saying, that's Kyle freaking Larson. That's it. I mean, how quick he has adapted to this Indy car is beyond belief. NBC put up an interesting graphic during his Fast 12 run. How he qualified for each of his first ever series starts was like somewhere outside the top 20. IndyCar, he's starting 5th in the 500, and Larson, he could be a contender to win this race on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think I was one bit shocked that he was able to adapt this quickly to this car. Practice, he was quick. Wasn't that quick, but he was quick. Not shocked that they tuned it up, got it ready to go, and he qualified in the top 10. I'm just not shocked by it. I was shocked to see him P1 for a little bit, but once I figured out who was left to qualify, I was like, all right, he's going to fall down about 5 spots. And sure enough, he did. But to qualify where he did as a rookie, I think this is like the highest qualifying rookie in quite some time, if not ever, in the Indy 500 outside of its first couple of years. So that's pretty cool. Man. And then he gets to the All-Star race and has to start in the back, and he has a top 5 run at the All-Star race. Like, that's insane. That's a busy week, and now he's got another busy weekend here on Sunday where he's trying to run 500 miles at Indy to go run 600 miles in Charlotte. Insane. And I think he's got the best opportunity, like you just said, to possibly win that and go out and run really well in Charlotte and probably win that one too.
The run for the double could be impacted, though. The weather for Indianapolis on Sunday does not look good. Thunderstorms pretty much throughout the day, and it doesn't look like it's going to clear up on Sunday. At Charlotte, though, the weather on Sunday also looking really rainy with some scattered thunderstorms, but should clear up to go racing by around 6 o'clock. So if he is unable to race in Indy because of Charlotte, because that's his full-time commitment, Tony Kanaan is the relief driver for Larson. But should the Indy 500 get postponed to a Monday or Tuesday, something we haven't seen in a very long time, Larson would still be able to run.
Yeah, and Rick Hendrick answered that question earlier today. I think it was. Might have been yesterday. He's not pulling Kyle Larson. He's going to let Kyle Larson make that determination. They've got a win in the bag. They know it doesn't hurt, but they know they need the points. If Kyle Larson can't start, but makes it back to get in that car at some point, I believe he still gets the points for the race as long as he finishes the race. Or just, I can't remember. He might have to start the race to get points. But
he would have to start
way,
the race to get points, yeah.
But either way, I think Kyle Larson would make this the right call himself. I don't think Rick Hendrick has to make that call. I think Kyle Larson would understand and know, hey, this isn't my full-time ride. I'm not driving for points here. I'm driving to win and then go run. He can always come back and do it next year. We know he's got the speed. We know he can drive these cars now. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he would get out of that car knowing that he has to go race the 600, or 600 is probably going to get in, even if Indy doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we had some sad news in NASCAR earlier this week. Of course, last week we had talked about the sad news of Barefoot Bob McCready passing. A couple of days later, we had some more sad news. Pair of deaths in the world of NASCAR. Eddie Gossage, the former president of Texas Motor Speedway, passed away at the age of 65. He was known for doing a lot of wild things at Texas Motor Speedway, from parties in the infield and stuff like that, to the design of TMS, to the IndyCar series running at Texas, as well as some other wild movements that he did. We're going to miss Eddie, that's for sure. He also did PR for Charlotte Motor Speedway before taking the role as track president, so he was a part of the creation of the All-Star race back in 1992. So that was really sad to see. The other news in NASCAR, Juanita Lightning Epton. You may not recognize Juanita, but you may recognize Lightning Epton passing away at the age of 103. Lightning Epton was known for selling tickets at the Daytona International Speedway going back to the first Daytona 500 in 1959. She kept working at Daytona until just a couple days before her passing. In fact, the ticket office is now named in Lightning's honor for the past few years, and our thoughts and prayers are with both Eddie Gossage and Lightning Epton. Two figures that will be remembered, that's for sure, in NASCAR.
Yeah, they both have left an impact. Gossage more recent, but just kind of a bummer for the Gossage family. Beats cancer in 2010. It comes back. He retires and doesn't get to really enjoy his retirement because he's battling cancer and goes through that. But he left his impact not only in Texas. He left it in NASCAR. He left it in Charlotte. He left it all over. Anywhere he went, he was the light of the party. And still going to be that way for the rest of time. And the Gossage family's not going anywhere. They're going to stay involved, and we look forward to seeing what they offer. But I think my favorite memory for Gossage would be the one hot night in Texas. I don't know if you remember that night, but that was
yeah,
a
the
pretty
one
cool
hot night at Charlotte.
Texas. Yeah, that was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite memory as well. Of when I think it was the test session and he was turning on the lights and actually burned Bruton Smith's hair while they were turning it on, and like something broke in like the electrical system, which was pretty crazy to see. So
the 1992 Winston.
Yep, that's what it was. So let's talk some local stuff as well, because big weekend here coming up here. Obviously, last weekend I was at Land of Legends for CRSA, where we saw Matt Rotz get his first ever sprint car win. Congratulations to him. This weekend we got a bunch of racing at Wheat Sports Speedway, opening up the season. Super Dirt Car Series back for the Heroes Remembered 100. Of course, CRSA is on the undercard, so I'll be on the call on the Dirt Vision broadcast on Sunday. For SDS, though, what are you expecting out of this race? The past few years, it's been, you got to watch out for Matt Williams, and he's always been the guy to beat at Wheat Sport. The track's always been slick, and mostly it's been a clean race at Wheat Sport as well.
Yeah, I think you still got to look out for Money Matt. I think you got to look out for Shepard. Friesen, potentially. I don't think Friesen.
We don't know if he's going to be there just yet.
I don't know if he's going to make it back in time, but I know he wants to try to. But I don't know if he's going to. All depends on how his Truck Series race goes, I guess. He makes it back from Charlotte, but I know he wants to try and get up there. But I think it's Money Matt.
He will be at Weed Sports Sunday, so I can confirm Stewart's running Weed Sports Sunday and Thunder Mountain Monday, and then I believe he's running Fonda on Saturday too. So there you go. Stewart will be there in case anybody's watching. So let's step aside and go to break. When we come back, we're going to preview the greatest day in racing. Stay with us. RSN Trackside's around the corner.
The Red Wings are home this week. Tuesday has half-price tickets. Wednesday features a jersey giveaway to fans 21 and older. Thursday is a business person special at 11:05 a.m. For tickets, visit redwingsbaseball.com.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, we look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food, we did that too. A separate place to smoke and play, we even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming, come here to dine, stay, and play.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef, follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce, and finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say,
Gimme, 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 feel great.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
The drive, dedication, the courage it takes to go from contender to champion. This has driven Bob Johnson from the very start. It's how we build our team. It's how we win our customers. Bob Johnson welcomes every challenge to enter the winner's circle.
Bob Johnson's got your ride. Bob Johnson.
Welcome back to RSN Trackside. RSN Trackside is brought to you by Zweigel's, making great tasting quality meat since 1880. Quality meals from pop-open hot dogs to classic sausages and meatballs made easy. Time to preview the weekend, the greatest weekend in all of motorsports. Monaco Grand Prix Sunday morning, Indianapolis 500 Sunday afternoon, Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday night. My favorite racing day of the year personally, just because you get a 3-in-1, triple kill, triple threat situation. What are you excited for the most on each of the races? I know F1's probably not going to have a lot of excitement compared to Indy and 600, but I think we know what you're looking forward to for the final two races.
Yeah, I think Monaco is Verstappen's to lose at this point. Just he's that dominant right now. But I'm still going to tune in, watch it for a little bit. Might be on the road, as I told you. But we'll see what happens. And then Indy 500, I think we're all both going to be the same thing, looking to see what Kyle Larson can do if that race gets in, right? If we start that race, what is Kyle Larson able to do? And if the rain comes, where's he at? And is it going to clear up for him to finish it? Or is it going to be, crap, I got to get in the plane, I got to get to Charlotte, I got to run the 600 and come back on Monday or Tuesday and finish? Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully we get it all in one day. And Kyle Larson is successful in Indy and has a good run at Charlotte. We haven't seen a good run since, I think, Tony Stewart. Or maybe it was Kurt Busch. I can't remember. Do the 500 and the 600 and have really good finishes.
It's been 10 years since the double took place with Larson, and I'm guessing you're watching out for him in the 600 too?
Yeah, I think he's going to run well in the 600. I think Chevy's going to be really good in Charlotte this weekend. And then the 600 is what do we get as far as retaliation between Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Sure, Stenhouse can say it's over, it's done, it's under the bridge. But until we see what they do when they're inside the race car, time will tell. I think that's the storyline looking at to go in. Just because the words we heard, I will wreck you at Charlotte. Ricky Stenhouse last words before Kyle Busch came over and said, go ahead, I'm just as bad as you.
So I think Monaco, obviously, Verstappen's the guy you got to watch out for. And Monaco, we know, is a qualifying track. Very tough to pass on those streets. It's going to be sunny, so don't expect a lot of passing because of rain in the vicinity. So we haven't seen rain plague the 500 since 2007 when Dario Franchitti took the checkered flag. So Mother Nature's been very nice to the Indy 500 in recent years. This year may not be the case. So, of course, I said last person to do the 1,100-mile double was Kurt Busch, was 6th at Indy, and then 40th at Charlotte, and that was 40th out of 43. The best finish anyone's ever had was Tony Stewart, 6th at Indy and 3rd at Charlotte in 2001, and he completed all 1,100 miles in one single day. So something to think about there. This double has seemed to be like an every 10-year thing or so. Before Kurt Busch, Robbie Gordon did it in 2004, where he was 29th at Indy and 20th at Charlotte. And Robbie Gordon was one that normally did the double pretty much every single year from once he was starting in NASCAR to wrapping up IndyCar. And then when he had the full-time team, he stopped doing that. So, and then you look at Charlotte, of course, same thing. Kyle Larson I'm watching out for. But remember, this is a Charlotte race where it's pretty much 4 races, 100 laps each with a halfway break at 200 to honor our military vets. Let's remember as well, this is a weekend where we think about our military, those that have sacrificed their lives so that we can be free on this Memorial Day weekend in 2024. So why don't we get to the odds here? Courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook, must be 21 and older and in the state of New York to play. And as always, please play responsibly. Gonna get the laptop out here once again as we've got the notes of the odds coming on in. After this weekend here, I had 2 correct on head-to-head, Kelvin. You had 1. Right now you have $1,506.90. I have $1,550.67. So let's go with Cup, and as always, we begin with our 3 head-to-head matchups. The first matchup of the weekend, Ty Gibbs against Ross Chastain. The favorite is Ty Gibbs at -120. Chastain a -110 dog. Who you thinking here, Kel?
Chastain, $5.
Chastain $5. Alrighty. So Chastain for $5. That would be a $9.54 payout at the window. Let me write this down here. Chastain -110. 5 to win, $9.54. I am going to go with Ty Gibbs because I feel like Ty Gibbs has performed really well at Charlotte ever since his time began in NASCAR at -120. And you know what? I'm actually going to put 10 down on Ty Gibbs. That would give me an 1833 win at the window. So next matchup, we have a pick'em matchup set for you. And it is, bear with me with the black and white because I'm going back and forth between odds and my rundown. Next one is a pick'em matchup. Kyle Busch and Joey Logano each at -115. This is a tough one. I feel like just with all the hype he's got going right now, give me Joey Logano, and I'm going to put 5 down on that to win $9.34.
I'm doing the same thing. Logano, $5.
All righty. Logano, -115, 5 to win $9.34. And then the final matchup of the weekend. This is going to be our biggest odds of the weekend. Kyle Larson against Denny Hamlin. Larson -125. Hamlin is -105.
I'm going to take Denny Hamlin on this.
At -105, how much?
Another $5. I'm going to go big later.
All right, $5 on Denny Hamlin. To win would be $9.76. You know a funny thing, Calvin? I was actually thinking the same thing on Denny Hamlin. So let me put Hamlin down. 5 to win, $9.76. Let me just write that down here real quick. 5 to win, $9.76. All right, so here are how our bets look right now. So you have Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin. I'm sorry, you have Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, and Joey Logano. So if I were to put that together in a 3-leg parlay, Logano and Hamlin, you would have put a $10 parlay down. You'd be going out with $69.68. So as for me, I've got Gibbs, Logano, and Hamlin. If I put $10 down on that, I'm walking out with $66.91 if I get all 3 correct. So next up, we go to who we think is going to finish top 5. A driver who you think will finish in the top 5. Let me give you first off our win odds. Larson, the favorite at 4.5 to 1, despite running the double. Denny Hamlin at 6 to 1. Tyler Reddick 8 to 1. Ryan Blaney 9 to 1. William Byron 10 to 1. Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott each 11 to 1. Brad Keselowski 12 to 1. Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher each 13 to 1. Who are you liking for a top 5? There are 3 drivers in the minus for top 5s that DraftKings believes will get in the top 5. Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin.
I've got one.
Who you got?
Driver's hot. Been hot for the last couple weeks. Chris Buescher for $5.
Chris Buescher for $5 at +175. Buescher +175. That is 5 to win, $13.75. I'm liking the +140 odds on Chase Elliott to finish in the top 5. And you know what? I'm feeling a little gutsy. But give me $10 on Elliott to finish in the top 5 this weekend at a +140. 10 to win, 24. Finally, who's your moneymaker to try and win this weekend?
Oh, boy. Put me on the spot. I'm going outside the box again.
Okay.
I said Ford is hot.
You did say Ford is hot.
Ford finds a way to get the Coke 600 again.
Okay.
Your defending, reigning NASCAR Series champion, Ryan Blaney, takes the checkered flag and wins the Coke 600.
All right. That's your money pick. How much you betting?
I'm putting a whopping $10 on that.
$10. All right. That is 10 to win 100. He is 9 to 1 to win. I'm going to put money down here on Denny Hamlin at 6 to 1. I know I don't know. Has he ever won the 600 before? I don't believe he has.
I think this is one of the keys that he hasn't.
Yeah, I believe this is one of the crown jewels that he hasn't won. Give me Denny Hamlin. I'm putting 5 down on that to win 35. So Hamlin plus 600, 5 to win 35 this weekend. So those are how our money looks this weekend. We're not going to put money down on this one, but let's look at the Indy 500 for the heck of it. If you want to bet on the Indy 500, they do have the winner top 3, top 5 on DraftKings. I just want to look at the winner, though. Scott McLaughlin, the pole sitter, is the favorite at 4 to 1. Joseph Newgarden, 5.5 to 1. Will Power, 6.5 to 1. If you want to put money on Kyle Larson, he is 7 to 1 to win. Alexander Rossi is 10 to 1. Pato O'Ward, 11 to 1. Alex Palou, 12 to 1. Colton Herta, 15 to 1. Scott Dixon, Santino Ferrucci, Renus VK, each 18 to 1. If I'm looking at somebody I'm going to put my money down on, Kyle Larson would be a great one to put your money down on if you're a NASCAR fan. He could actually win this race. I am not kidding. Plus, I feel like McLaren is very good in the draft here at Indy, no matter what day it is. So I would put money down on Larson, even Pato O'Ward. Colton Herta, though, has looked very good this week, just all around, whether it be the toe speed, the no-toe speed. He's at 15 to 1. That'd be a good one to put money on down if you want to go risky with it. How about you? Who are you looking at?
Larson, and if Larson doesn't run, I think Tony Khan has a real shot at winning it too. But I just don't know, man. Like,
it's always tough to pick.
Like Will Power.
Power's a good one.
Those last 5 that qualified.
Penske's looked really good this week.
They were fast.
Or this month, I should say.
If Penske can get their pit road strategy figured out, because if I'm not mistaken, the last 2 years or something on pit road has cost them to like win the Indy 500. If I'm not mistaken, but I think something's happened where they haven't quite got it done on pit road, and it's cost them, or they pitted late, and then they've lost so much time to the people who pitted before them that they just couldn't make it back up. So if they get their pit strategy right, I think Will Power and Penske are the teams to really beat Indy. I just want to give you one more quick fact that I looked up. Denny Hamlin has 28 starts at Charlotte, has never won, has 17 top 10s and 7 top 5s.
Wow. Okay, then. That's good to know. So, alrighty, let's go to our predictions this weekend. Obviously, I'm still ahead in points, so you get to go. We're going to do a bunch of predictions this weekend. We're going to do Cup, Xfinity, Trucks, Monaco, and Indy. In the order we're going to do it. Let me write this down. Trucks first, Xfinity second, Monaco third, Indy fourth, and Cup final. So that means you get to go first for Cup, Monaco, and Trucks. I get to go first for Xfinity and Indy. So let's get down to business here and give our predictions on who we think is going to win this weekend. Truck Series race at Charlotte, the North Carolina Education Lottery 200, 8:30 p.m. on FS1. Kelvin, who wins?
Always tough, but I think Stuart Friesen has run well here in the past. I think Stuart Friesen's due for a big win. I'm going to go with Stuart Friesen.
Give me Christian Eckes. He's performed really well on the mile and a halves this year. So I'm going to go with Eckes to take the checkered flag here at Charlotte. So next up, the Xfinity Series, the BetMGM 300. That's at 1 o'clock on Fox. Don't forget as well, it's a drivers-only broadcast, so all drivers will be commentating this race. So look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. My pick to win, there are a lot of guys in this race of Cup guys, from Chase Elliott, Noah Gragson, Kyle Busch. Actually, isn't Ty Gibbs supposed to be in this race instead of Eric Almirola? I can't recall.
I thought he was supposed to, but you never know. Eric Almirola's got a couple of wins, so they could have changed everything up.
Yeah, Eric's on the entry list as of May 17th. That was the last update. I thought I saw Ty Gibbs running in it, but regardless, you know what? Give me Kyle Busch to win.
I'm going to go Noah Gragson.
You go Noah? Noah is in car number, I'm just double checking here. He's in the 130 for Rhett Jones Racing. It's either Rhett Jones' debut in the Xfinity Series or it's been forever since we've last seen them. So, Monaco Grand Prix. I think we know where we're going to go here.
Yep, I went Verstappen. I already wrote that down.
Yeah, I'm going Verstappen. If I were to pick somebody else that's not Max Verstappen, Lando Norris. Watch Verstappen. Watch him qualify on pole at Monaco, then go to race like a virtual Indy 500, then come back. He did the same thing at at Imola a couple weeks ago. Got the pole position at San Marino, then went back to his apartment or home to do an iRace with his Red Line team. I think it was the Nürburgring 24 hours. Then goes back to Imola and wins. That's crazy to think of. So, but yeah, I'm going Verstappen too, if not Lando Norris, for breakfast at Monaco. Lunch at Indianapolis. You know, there's a lot of good contenders here. The Penske guys look really good. Pato O'Ward always looks good. Colton Herta looks good. Kyle Larson looks good. I think a McLaren goes to victory lane. Not Kyle Larson, though. Give me Pato O'Ward. He nearly won the Indy 500 last year. He came in as the favorite. I think Pato's got a good chance to take the twin checkered flags and taste the milk for the first time ever.
I like it. But I'm going to go with a different McLaren. And I believe he's not a teammate either. Oh, no, wait. He might be a teammate.
He's going to be a teammate, yeah.
Alexander Rossi.
Good pick. Rossi's always strong at Indianapolis. Won in 2016, looking to win it once again for the first time with McLaren. So, all right, finally for the Cup race, who you got?
You know, I've been beating around this one trying to figure it out. I don't think I figured it out. Trying to look at it is where can I get the most points? We have an extra stage in this one, being 600 miles. Driver's never won here. I mentioned Denny Hamlin's never won here, but there's actually several other drivers who have actually never won here. And that's quite surprising to me. But we're gonna see a new Coca-Cola 600 winner and a first-time winner at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Chase Elliott, in his 9th attempt at Charlotte, gets it done.
Just put it down.
I knew you would have Chase Elliott too.
Psych! Denny Hamlin wins. Give me Denny.
You changed it.
I'm changing it. I don't care. I am changing that pick.
You should have just rolled your camera down and had like a 1, 2, 3 tier and show Chase Elliott being on the one.
I can't move my camera down because I got it mounted inside my teleprompter. So that would not be fun. That would not be fun for me in my wallet. But yeah, Chase Elliott's won at Charlotte on the oval in the past. In case you can't remember, he won back during the COVID time. I think it was the midweek race that he won. Almost won the 600 though that same year. I think he can do it. I think Chase does take the win. If he doesn't win though, give me Denny Hamlin. So, final thoughts as we enter the weekend.
I just realized the stats I was looking at are only from 2020, May 27th, Alsco 500. So they may have won, but since then, Chase has not won since 2000 at the track. Denny Hamlin has not won since then either. So we got some hoping to do this weekend because Clint Boyer has won more recently at Charlotte than either of our two drivers, and now he's in the booth. So thank you, men and women in the armed forces, for all that you do for us, keeping us free, and all those who have sacrificed everything and lost everything. Just remember that it's a holiday to celebrate that, not to go out party and do something silly and ruin somebody else's life. So party smart, NASCAR fans, stay safe, have a good weekend, and racing's gonna be good too.
Yeah, don't do anything stupid on this Memorial Day weekend. This is obviously, personally for me, this is a weekend I've been looking forward to the most with, the local gigs calling the CRSA race at Weed Sport this weekend. But let's remember, I know this is the greatest weekend in racing history, but let's remember why we take Monday off on Memorial Day to recognize the men and women that sacrificed their lives so we can be free and continue to be free in 2024. So that is going to do it for this edition of RSN Trackside. Next week, we will recap the greatest weekend in all of racing. I can't even remember where we are next week, and I got the calendar right here. Let's pull it up here. It's going to be June already. We're going to be in the second half of the regular season. Can you believe that? Next weekend is Worldwide Technology Raceway, so we'll be previewing that as well. So shout out to Gary, as always, working behind the camera and the computer. He's Kelvin. I'm Marty. This has been